Welcome back everyone to Delta Y, episode 20 time. It's been a few weeks since we've uploaded, we understand that, and I'm saying we, yet it's me alone here in my room. Grayson and me are separated again for a break from school, and we've just been so busy these past few weeks. We apologize for our disruption from our regular schedule for uploading. But let's jump right back into the amazing world of science and technology and just life. So, the first article I'll be talking about this week is on DARPA's project to create a $10 million open source voting system that is supposed to be completely secured from hacking, and a device created by the University of Toronto using magnets and an iron bead that creates a micro-sized microscope. As always, this is Delta Y. This is Josh, and thank you for listening. Let's kick it into that intro, and let's get into this week. Alright everyone, so our first article for this week is on the DARPA project to create a $10 million open source voting system. Now, most voting systems we all know are either, paper you put into a ballot box, or some states and some counties have used a electronic version. But the problem that, this nation feels like is that when we're using these electronic versions, we're not seeing what we want, right? They print out on a barcode, it gets scanned, and the fear from DARPA and just, the nation in general has been that people are voting for someone and they scan their ballot and it comes back that, hey, they voted for someone completely different than they put down, because they're saying that some machines in some places are rigged or hacked to, more importantly, take their vote and flip it to another candidate. But what DARPA is doing is outsourcing to a company called Gallios, based in Oregon, and they're a long-time government contractor. So what they're doing is, instead of doing a closed system where DARPA couldn't talk about this really in public and no one could see this, what they're doing is open source entirely. So by doing that, they're allowing people to look at it and trust it, and they're allowing it to be tested. So they're going to take it to the DEF CON voting village this summer and the next summer. They have prototypes of it so that they can send hackers through it and researchers to see, if some of the best hackers that, are out in the spotlight can hack the system. If that's the case, then they know what to do and how to fix it. And I think that's amazing, is that, the government's taking this a next step. Like, hey, I think we can all agree there were some problems with some nations, and there always have been for voting. Not always America. I'd say more like third world countries. I've heard of stories of some countries in Africa where they've had rigged elections. And this system, I think, would be an amazing way to fix that. So, they're going to test this with certain levels of security to ensure that it's up to spec and it's going to be, the proper type of system that they want to have. It's going to take time to develop, clearly. And I think that's worth it. If we get a demonstration from this summer and next summer that shows, significant gains in security from, even if we have some things that go through, if people are able to hack it, I still think that the ability to see your vote perfectly clear that you put in a machine would be better. Because that's the second part of this machine, is that instead of printing off a barcode or having it run through a machine, in that way, what they're going to do is create an optical image scanner, essentially, is what their goal is. So it's going to be, it's not going to be what you write, but it's going to be something close to what you write. They want you to be able to look at your ballot that you printed off from the, the touchscreen system they'll be using, and they just want to have you look down at your ballot and go, yep, this is all correct. Put it in, and that it's not scanning a barcode or a QR code. It is scanning what you put in. So it's quite tricky to do that. I will say one system I know works amazingly well is the U.S. mail system. That's the scanners they have for that are incredible. But I think this is going to be much smaller, and I can see this working really well. So the goal is, they want to have this be super secure from hacking. They don't want to ever hear another allegation about it again, I think. They just want to solve the problem. And they also want to, properly represent the American people and just people of the world who vote, where you can put your ballot in. You can choose who you vote for, and that the machine has scanned those people. Now, I could always see, maybe there's a problem with the actual scanner, but that is something that I'm sure they've thought of too. And I'm sure they're looking into it like, hey, we can definitely fix that by just beefing up security around the scanner and creating a system that just works a little better. I mean, the system is so varied across this nation that, yeah, we're going to have to take time to get this done. It might not take a year or two. This could be a multi-year process. But I think that their goals of, even, a certain percentage of votes being cast with the system, knowing that they're perfectly, represented of what the people want, is amazing to see. And it's really great to see government organizations like DARPA taking things like this and throwing them in the spotlight. Like, hey, if you think you can break it, do it. Tell us, though. Make it work. And I think that's great that, they're working together with, obviously government trusted organization like Galos. I can't say their organization name. I keep thinking of GLaDOS. But, working with a company outside the government to help them, possibly fix things like this is great to see. And yeah, they're just stepping up, which is great to see, to fix these vacuums we have in security of the U.S. government. I mean, this is just one step to make sure that, democracy stays fair, even though, the system is not perfect. Let's say that. And I'm not saying I could ever do any better, but, steps like this to increase representation by the people and overall make it a little bit better is great to see. And I'm really happy that, the country understands that, yeah, there is a problem, and we're not the only country in the world that has this problem. So, before we move on to our next article, I just want to take a quick minute here. If you hear me breathing kind of heavily, I believe I'm on the tail end of the flu. Really sucks, but I'm doing my best here. And, I want to thank you guys for all your support. We haven't uploaded in 3 weeks, I want to say, almost 3 weeks. This will be 3 weeks from when we last uploaded. And, life gets difficult. We are college students, me and Grayson, and we both get really busy. We have lots of labs and things, and, life just gets in the way. So I appreciate, all of you that come back to this episode. This is our 20th. We wanted to do this together. We just didn't get the chance, unfortunately, due to things just not lining up. But I'm not sure if next episode will have Grayson in it. We'll have to see, timing wise, what happens. But you can definitely expect episode 22. We'll have Grayson back. We got some stories we're going to talk about that I want him here for, because he has a little bit more of a medical background, and he's much more versed in that stuff. So we'll be covering some articles from this week in a few weeks, which, we don't like doing all the time, but sometimes you got to do it to get the proper representation of what's going on. Anyway, our next article is entitled Nanobot That Can Probe Inside Human Cells. So the researchers from the University of Toronto have created magnetic tweezers. I may have mentioned it as a microscope previously in the introduction. I was mistaken. But I think that this is really cool. So what it does is they use 6 magnetic coils positioned around a live cell. It doesn't have to be frozen or stuff like that traditional methods have had. And this is really cool because what it does is these magnetic coils move the little tiny iron bead around that is small enough to enter human cells and can be positioned with never before seen accuracy. And this is really cool because, there are some things, such as procedures in vitro fertilization and some more personalized medicines for people, that need this kind of technology to see what's going on, just to, probe a cell deeper. Because, with traditional methods, they've stated that traditionally they've been like looking at a building, but nothing inside. And this method they're stating is a method that they're able to look in the building, see the rooms, look at the furniture, which is amazing for a detail level, how far down they can go. And it's cool because they want to do this without having to freeze dry the cells and cut them up. Because otherwise, to use live cells, traditionally, they've had to use lasers or acoustics. And obviously, lasers are great, but they can't do what they want to do. You can't physically do with a laser what you can do with a physical, tweezer, quote unquote. So the magnetic iron bead they're using is 700 nanometers in diameter, which is about 100 times smaller than the thickness of a human hair. I love that thickness of a human hair is what we're using as a definition nowadays. It's amazing that that is a large amount. But I mean, what they do is they throw the bead, they inject the bead, and they can use real-time feedback to see where it is. And they obviously use a very complex computer-controlled algorithm to vary how much current goes through each coil to exactly position the bead in space. So they can control it down to a couple hundred nanometers, which is incredible because they're stating that this is magnitudes of precision higher than what they would have gotten with lasers, which to me, lasers seem really advanced as they were. So this is amazing to see that we're getting even more advanced and more precise. And I think one of the cool things about this is, the idea that they can swarm these. So you could use what they're quoting as a whole swarm of them, get all these little iron pellets, and you could choke off a tumor, or you could just cut it off almost. And that would offer a way to treat cancer that, traditionally doesn't work well with chemotherapy, radiotherapy, immunotherapy. So that's really cool to see that they're, creating a way to do this. And it's going to be interesting to watch this progress, how are they going to do this on, if, say, they have to inject it in your body, where do you have to put your body part? Like, do you have to create a module that can fit around, say, a torso or an arm or a head or a leg? They have to vary that. And I think right now they're working with, a platter that's not that big, probably half a dinner plate size in diameter. So we'll have to see where this goes in the future. But for now, this is great news to see, something come out that could really change lives in a lot of ways. This kind of technology and this progression in the medical field towards something that is less damaging than radiotherapy is good to see. And, once again, I've stated this before, I'm not as well versed in the medical field, but, in what I've seen in life and, what I read in the news, which is sometimes terrifying, it's good to see progression towards solving problems like this, because, having a machine or a pair of tweezers like this to see what you need to see and understand things in the human body is really good to see. So, I think I should be following this, and I think we all should too. This could be something that really changes the medical field, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But, really that's all I got for you guys this week. I'm real tired. I've been fighting this flu, so I hope you understand the short episode here, and it is just me on a short time frame here. So, thank you all for listening. As always, I'm going to link down below. I'll throw all our social media links. I do never have time to post fully in them. I'm so sorry that they seem kind of dead, and they definitely are. But, our Patreon link's down there. If you want to toss us, $1 a month, you'd be helping us, get a slightly better microphone. So we want to create a podcast here. Think of Good Mythical Morning. Those guys, have it set so they can just sit there, hit record their episode, get it out. We spend a little more time on our episodes, trying to find articles, researching them, looking a little more deeply, making sure they're not, hocus pocus, random stuff. And, to do that takes time and, it takes a little effort. So, anything you guys can do is always appreciated. As always, the links for the articles are down below, just 2 of them. I want to push towards doing more of them, but we'll have to see. It's really a matter of, if you're wondering why we switched from 4 to 2, with 2, we're allowing ourselves to create a deeper understanding of the material, and we're giving you guys a deeper understanding. So, as always, thank you so much for listening to Delta Y. We appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time.